All right, 5.5 months later, this is garden update number 2. A lot has changed since my first update. These are all avocados. As soon as they get to 8 inches, I cut them back to promote lateral growth. This is all asparagus. I had just planted that and they hadn't even sprouted yet in the last update. Starting to do really well. Corn, glass gem corn, I got a bunch of it. Some there, some there, some there, and then a bunch more over there, which we'll get to later. All of these empty guys here, they just planted pumpkin seeds a little ahead of season, but those should come out pretty nicely. These were Meyer's lemon cuttings, and some of them have started to do really well. This is the only method that's ever worked for me for replanting cuttings, and I just planted some of them. Some new leaves starting to come in, doing really well. The little olive plant there hasn't changed at all in 5.5 months, and neither has the madrone. Unfortunately, these are really susceptible to having issues after the roots have been tampered with, so haven't been doing too well. This is just some of the sage. These had just sprouted 5 months ago, and I have a bunch more in that corner over there. We'll get to that later too. Guavas have finally started to come in really nicely now that the weather's changed. Again, that's the corn. These are just the only 3 avocados that I had at the time. Only 3 avocado plants doing really well now. 1, 2, 3. Those are some green onions, and I got a bunch more that I'll get to as well. And then over here in this corner, this is all corn. Just put it in the greenhouse, so it's gonna take a little while. All right, now let's move on. So this is a dark cherry. I forgot the name of this plant, but it's a dark cherry common in Mexico, and really got a really good deal on this, and it's coming in really nicely. And then over here, we've got a bunch of hybrid lilies. Just the bulbs, I just planted those, so they're just starting to pop out now. I also just got a variety of gladiolus bulbs, and I just chucked these in some water overnight, and the roots are already coming out. I potted up the best 5 with the longest roots, and these will get potted as soon as I find pots for them. And there we go, all the bulbs are finally potted up. I found enough pots. The tin foil is just acting for water retention because I don't have anything that can hold water. And then I didn't have enough of the small ones anymore, so I put 3 bulbs in that one. I think those will. Then we've got all 3 cats. 1, 2, 3. All right, now here are some of the green onions. These were, I originally called them Egyptian walking onions, and then I found out later that they had sent me the wrong package. These are green onions. And I have already harvested them twice. I just cut them right at the base, and then they regrow really quickly. All right, moving on. Garlic had just started to sprout 5.5 months ago. It's doing really well. I got a lot of it. This is all from one head of garlic. All of these, and then more over here. These guys are doing the best. Coming in really nicely. A couple more months before I can harvest those. This is new too, another guava plant. I forgot which one this one was. I think it was a pineapple guava. Then a bunch more sage. This had just sprouted again too. Haven't actually used any of it yet, but now all of these down here, corn, all the glass gem corn. I think that's arugula. And then down here are all the succulents that I had in the greenhouse. They're starting to grow pretty nicely. And the cats like them, so they knock them over like this. This orange tree hasn't grown or shrunk at all. It's still doing all right, but hasn't changed at all. Kelsey plum, all the flowers just died off, but it was looking really pretty with a bunch of white flowers. The rosemary that I got from Trader Joe's really starting to take off. The blackberry bush, by far doing the best out of all the plants I have right now. Really coming in nicely, exploded. Pomegranate also doing really nice. I thought this one was gonna die, but it came back pretty quickly. Blackberry, Meyer's lemon looks pretty much the same, but we're starting to get some flowers blooming, which is either a good or bad sign, I don't know. Loquats haven't changed much, but we did have a baby hummingbird to watch them grow up and fly away. Now these guys are starting to come in really nicely too. Cherry, cherry, plum, plum, cherry, cherry. These two get a lot more shade, so they have not started to sprout any greens yet. I've also created this little composting assembly here that rotates. Oops, sorry. Oops, it's open. Close that later. But the whole thing's on some casters, so it moves. Pretty cool. But I have a better assembly that I just got for free off of Nextdoor. Also a rotating assembly. I think it's like 200 something bucks if you buy it new, but somebody was just getting rid of it. I also got this aloe plant, but unfortunately when I planted it, I dropped it on its head and completely destroyed it, so now it's dying, and I'm just hoping something will come back to life eventually. I planted a couple of chayotes too, and they're not doing too well. But that's also because they're supposed to be a vine, and I'm trying to grow them as a ground cover just because I don't have anywhere for them to grow upwards. Also, these cats like to eat them too. Attack. This is another chayote, and I realized that this one doesn't really get a lot of sun throughout the day, so the vine is starting to die. But there is some new growth at the bottom, same as the other one, so there might still be hope. Some pretty weeds, very pretty weeds. Not actually weeds, but they kind of grow like weeds. Everything's coming in pretty nicely this year. California super bloom, great weather, lots of rain, very unusual condition. I don't have that much inside anymore. I used to have 3 of these dragon fruit, now I just have 1 with a little cactus coming up. A bunch of avocados that haven't yet sprouted. Some of them I just started. And then I got the 2 chayotes here, and that's it. And these crawl up, 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 and they really find, I mean, look at this, it's really cool. They find anything to climb up. These will have to go outside pretty soon. Bamboo plant supports, free if you live near a beach, and that's where I got them. So there you have it, 5 months later, lots of new additions to the garden, lots of new growth, and hopefully in another 5 months from now, I'll be expanding at least the corn onto a friend's property, and the garden will be even bigger.